Lewis Awall.
Kia ora, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to talk to Part 2 of the Psychoactive Substances Bill, which is really about licensing to import, to manufacture and to sell. And in addition to research, which I want to highlight, because that addition, the research addition, was absolutely something that submitters made clear, and I thank them for highlighting to us that that was a requirement to enable them to continue to research the impacts of psychoactive substances, particularly the addiction and mental health researchers at Auckland University. So I thank them for that addition. I'd like to highlight Section 15, which is really about the grounds for granting a licence. So throughout this process, we want to make sure that fit and proper persons are enabled to get these licences. And so if you've had a dishonesty offence, or if you've had any offence against misuse of drugs, then it automatically disqualifies you from being able to hold a licence. I absolutely agree with that. 16 was really about ensuring that when you do have a licence to import, there is going to be a requirement for you to name the product that you are bringing into the country and the quantity of that substance being imported. I think those requirements are incredibly helpful and beneficial to an ongoing monitoring of these products. I think we all would agree that we're entering into a new space where we're trying to regulate a substance that in any other circumstance possibly would be classified as a drug, and therefore you would be unable to use it. So having these requirements about knowing what's coming in what quantities, and hopefully then also knowing what region of the country and what communities these substances are going to be consumed within, I think is also part of an ongoing requirement of us to ensure that we negate any negative consequences of this piece of legislation. One of the things I wanted to highlight too through this process is that Section 24 will make it an offence to import without a licence. It's incredibly important that we have measures in place that are going to absolutely deal to people who try to manipulate our systems and bring in substances that they know they can sell for quite a bit of profit. And so a $500,000 fine as the penalty for that offence, I think is absolutely congruent with the message that we want out there, because this regime that we're entering into really is one where we're creating the law as we progress through the implementation of the bill. And so I think nobody is naive to the fact that many communities being affected by these psychoactive substances have had to contend with many of the current importers of those psychoactive substances trying to sell as much of it into our communities as possible. And so it's one thing that I know is on the agenda of the Minister and obviously the Minister of Police, because I think we have to be vigilant about the consequences of this bill going through. We know already that shopkeepers have been encouraged to stockpile psychoactive substances, that there have been attempts to discount the product to get it out into our communities. And so we know that we're going to have to be vigilant once this legislation goes through to confiscate as much of the product that is out there as possible. And so I think these monitoring regimes, these signals to the psychoactive substance business community are really, really important. So obviously we would support that 100%. The only other thing I really wanted to highlight in Part 2 was Section 41, which was about the registering of products who go through the process and our expert committee deemed to be sufficiently low risk to be granted a licence for sale. But in addition to that, we're also going to make sure that the public are aware of the products that have been through the process but aren't approved. I think there was a really good requirement that the Select Committee made in the interests of the public good, so that everybody had some transparency around the process, that we knew what products had been through, Mr Chair.
Lewis the Wall.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Had been through the process of being verified or certified as being sufficiently of low risk to be sold within our communities, but also that the non-approved products would also be listed, because again I want to highlight that the distinction between some of these products is very difficult. And obviously if the packaging of some of the non-approved substances ends up out into the community, or in fact some of the manufacturers just sell it in spite of it not being approved, I think that what we need to make sure is that this process educates our communities, that we have constructive conversations with our communities, as we all have attempted to do. I can say in my community in Manurewa, with the Manurewa local board member Colleen Brown, we visited our 32 dairies. We identified 6 dairies who were selling psychoactive substances. We informed them about the legislation that was going through the House. We said to them it was likely that the manufacturers would try and sell these products to you at discounted rates. We warned them about stockpiling. We were also very clear that these products are hurting our community. And what I would like to acknowledge again, which I did during part 1 of this debate, this committee stage debate, was to acknowledge the community members, the dairy owners, who through their own recognition of those harms had chosen not to sell. So 22% of my community dairy owners sold, but what I want to focus on is the 78% who didn't. And so what I see as an ongoing process from here, I would prefer that none of these products were sold in my community, but I'm a realist, and I also stand up for the rights of adults to choose to partake in these types of products akin to both cigarettes and to alcohol. So, Mr Chair, that concludes my contribution. Thank you.
Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair.